Should I make an attempt to look slightly less haggard when I start these videos? Probably. But here we are. I had like a whole like exciting clickbaity intro. And then I saw myself in the viewfinder and I was like, oh wow. It's morning. But back to my clickbaity intro. This vlog ends when I'm done editing my book. It's not true at all. But I'm going to spend the next week, my goal for the next week is to finish going through the marking up edits for my draft 2, which I have recently being yesterday, decided is more like draft 1.5. And I'm now going to finish marking it up. I found like a whole section of plot issues and consistency issues with characters' behavior that essentially means that I need to rewrite a whole, well, I'm already planning on rewriting it, like the drafting this one from scratch, essentially, scratch-ish, but like where I'm going to be moving around whole sections of it in the middle of the book. So my plan is to sit down and create like a big plot with all the different character arcs, all of the different connections and issues and actions that one character does that will affect my main character's behavior. So I have like a whole big document to rewrite from. And that's my plan for the week. I'm about halfway done marking up my book. My goal is to do 2 chapters of marking a day, and then I'll be done in the next like 4 days, I think. 4 or 5 days. And then moving on to that big plot outline so that I can start writing the book, writing my true second draft, and hopefully have a good book this time. Oh, I love, you can see Peppa Pig in the background. Also, I got a new camera and a new little tiny mic thing. This is probably too close to my mouth. I apologize. So hopefully this looks better. Of course, then you can just see my haggardness in like 4K. I feel really cool and like I'm officially a part of the YouTube club because I have the tiny mic to hold.
I'm an expert at overthinking things that I shouldn't. You come across as a cool guy, someone is the opposite.
Look came in the mail. I've talked about it before on here. Well, I talk about it like, I swear, every video. I'm like, fanfiction. I love fanfiction. This one is an adaptation of one of my favorite fanfictions. Unfortunately, you can no longer read the fanfiction of it. Julie Soto's taken it off of AO3, but you should read this. This is, I think, inspired by one of my favorite fanfictions, but you can go read the fanfiction still if you want to. It's Draco, Malfoy, and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. And when I say this is like one of my favorite fanfictions ever, these are my personal, like, handmade binds of the fanfiction, the auction. And this, as I drop my needle on the ground, is my in-progress bind of Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. It's a good time to be a Hermione girly. It really is. And 1, gorgeous, but 2, the dedication for the Saturday Girls. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, go on AO3 and go read the Rights and Wrongs series. And this one literally made me scream. One, adorable. Made me scream out loud. If you know, you know. So it is July 13th, Sunday. I did read, I think, 3 chapters in my novel yesterday. I marked those up. I did hit a bit of a, okay, this whole section needs to be reordered. I'd already planned to pretty much, I'm going to rewrite the book. I'm rewriting it for this draft. But I hit a whole section where I was like, okay, this whole section needs to be like rewritten. So that's been fun. But unfortunately, it's also meaning that now that I've hit like this whole section where it's like not just like me rewriting it, it's me like replotting it, that I kind of just want to get a move on and replot the book now. But I'm trying to hold off. I would like to finish actually reading the book first. So that way, I mean, obviously just so I know what's happening. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. So the other thing that I'm doing right now is I'm reading through John Truby's The Anatomy of Story and working through this for Project Bookshop or One Last Summer, depending on who you ask. So I'd like to work through this whole thing before I really get to truly like replotting, like doing a chapter outline of the book. That's what we're gonna do today. To hold myself off from skipping reading the rest of the book and just starting to plot is I'm gonna set up a Milanote board. This is the first time I've used Milanote, so I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but I saw, I just watched, I think Christy Anne Jones is plotting a book using Milanote. This was like a video like almost a year ago. And it looked interesting. I've seen lots of videos of Milanote on the internet now, and none of them have really made me think, oh, I would like to use that. But this one, I thought, okay, that could be helpful. So I'm gonna try to set up a board for The Anatomy of Story, as well as just get some stuff set up to have like character arcs written out and then the chapter outline. The character arcs are kind of important to me right now because that's where my issue is lying with this having to rewrite a section of the book, is that one of her friends, like one of the side characters, one of her best friends, I guess at some point I changed her opinions on some things, so some conversations just no longer match up. So I need to really figure out who she is as a character and what her goals are, like what her motivation for her actions towards my main character are. And so I figure I might as well do that for all of the characters, just to make sure that everyone's consistent, as well as making sure they serve a purpose and like helping my main character reach her goals. But we're gonna set up this board right now, work through the first 2 writing exercises. It's a word. Exercise for that. So I don't really know. There's like all these different, I think novel plan maybe, or novel mood board. Oh, no, not that. Novel plan. Use this template. Now you're ready to add content, okay. So I don't really need a lot of that because I don't really have any research that I'm gonna do. I'm like, do I actually like this, or should I just build my own from scratch? I kind of feel like I should have just built my own. Okay, hold on. Can I delete this whole section? I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. What did I just delete? Oh, it worked. It worked. Okay. Brainstorm. Okay. The other thing I want to do is write a synopsis. Why that changed the font, I will not know. Let me. Synopsis. I don't think that I need these sections. I will write the synopsis at a later time. I don't know why you would need a separate plot. That's just weird. Story outline. I do not like that. I think that we're just gonna not do that and go back. Me going, I don't think I want any of these boards. I don't need that. Don't need this. This is me just deleting the entire thing. Cool. I should have just made it myself. Give me a second. Just me just deciding, in fact, I do not like that. Okay. New board. on. All right, so this will be character arcs, anatomy, story. I like that, like gives me, and then chapter outline. I just find that like, oh, it's a little roller coaster. It's kind of adorable. Okay. I don't know why I find that significantly more. I love that I made this whole board just for it to have like literally 6 things on it. Okay. So this we're gonna do columns, I think. So this is gonna be, what was the first writing exercise? We have premise. And then this one is how to use just the 7 story steps. Okay, I'm skipping half of these things because they're not relevant at this point in writing this. So I finished going through the 7 story steps for Project Bookshop. My problem with this is that in the anatomy of story, in like the next chapter, because I've already read most of the book, so I'm going back through it, is that John Truby says that in like a romance or a love story, that the romantic interest is the opponent. But then they describe the opponent as like wanting the same thing as your main character or your hero, and so that's what's causing the conflict between them. And I'm just trying to figure out what it is that they both want to get to this, because I think that maybe this is why my story feels like it's lacking conflict between my characters, is because I don't understand I'm not getting to the true desire of them, or if I know the true desire, I'm not putting it on the page as much as I should be. That's why I think like doing stuff like this is actually really helpful, and I wish I had done this in the beginning, but I didn't read the book yet, because it would have saved me some time in like understanding that her desire is not just for like her bookshop to be saved, but her desire is for people to be proud of her for something she accomplished on her own. But at the same time, oh, that's what I'm going back with. Is her desire for people to be proud of her for accomplishing this on her own, or is her desire for people to truly know her, or to not truly know her? Is her desire to keep everyone at arm's distance? Is that just more of her weakness coming through and her thinking that's what she needs? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure everything out, essentially. It feels awful. I'm working on draft 3 and I'm like, I don't know what my character wants. I think that I've made her, I tried too hard to like come up with the end result, I think, and then backtrack to what she wanted. And I think that has resulted in me having like 3 different things from 3 different like iterations of drafting and like planning. The next chapter of the anatomy story is going through character. So I'm hoping it becomes a little bit more clear to me. The whole character opponent situation, at least in terms of what he wants. And that's the other thing, creating an actual character arc for him might be helpful for me right now, because for him being my like male MMC, the love interest, because I'm just like, I think that I let him be just too, here he is, boop, 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 and not have an actual desire or goal that he's creating conflict with my FMC with. And I think that's the problem. So I think I need to actually delve more into him versus the FMC right now. Things to do. But first we're gonna finish this. Hopefully finish this in the next like 3 days, and then really start digging into my characters again. Things that I should have done 3 years ago. But I'm not mad at myself for not doing that, because it was the first time I wrote a novel. So what can you expect? It's not gonna be perfect. But that's what the goal for today is, to, it's more of this read. Hopefully finish this in the next 3 days. Is there anything better than the first sip of coffee in the morning? My kids woke me up at like 5:30 this morning. Apparently chasing a bug around the house trying to kill it. It's Monday, July 14th. So I think that I'm getting sick. I have like my entire, what side of my body is this? The entire right side of my body is like super congested. Like I can feel my ears like all stuffed up. Everything just seems so loud. To go to the grocery store today. Need to read my book today, which is like, you know, fine. But I didn't do any of it yesterday, so I'm gonna try to do double reading today because I really do. I want to get on with it. I've just been feeling super indecisive lately. I don't know if indecisive is the right word. Yeah, I don't know if indecisive is the right word. More, honestly, I think that I might just be lazy or unmotivated. Like, I get really hung up on doing certain things. And I know that I need to go move on to, like, editing. And I just cannot get myself to do it. It's just the thought. It's like I want to do it. I know that I want to do it, but I don't do it. And I know that's actually more like ADHD ramblings of a overly tired, slightly ill mother. I don't want to do today. I really don't want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today.
I'm hushing the dog on the chain. I'm running up stones on the edge of the bank. Rally the troops for another refrain. I sing this softly to myself. I sing this softly to myself. I'm buried beneath the sand. There's no way to speak or reach out my hand. Watching the paper slowly unfold. Bracing for news that I can't bear to hold. While I'm singing this song to myself. I sing this softly to myself.
I love that now that I'm editing these later chapters where my writing was actually debatably good or at least significantly better than the beginning of the book. I'm actually like, wow, this is not awful. This is a book. This is making me feel things. I just read the like post midpoint, so they're like morning after, and it was just like actually making me feel kind of giddy. Like reading the book the first time through, this draft the first time through, I was not particularly happy with the kind of like giddiness that I had throughout it. I felt like they were kind of dry and like not so cute together, but maybe I just skimmed too much over the second half of the book because I actually really think that they're kind of adorable and I love them. The first half of the book definitely missing some of that, but that is, my writing is still not very good. But so now getting to see kind of like the cutesiness between them is like so good, and it's actually not bad. I'm a little bit behind. Essentially what I'm saying is I've wasted my entire day. That's not true. I've, been a mom for a good part of the day. I went to the library, went to the grocery store, played outside with my kids. But I have, instead of reading this, been reading. And so that sometimes feels like a waste. So I'm only read one out of my hopefully 4 chapters that I'm going to edit through today. So I feel like I've wasted my day. It's only like Chuck's non-existent watch. It's not even 4. So I just need to motivate myself to do it before I get up to make dinner. Si se puede. like trying to dive back into this other story that I started writing 2 years ago, but I'm just doing research for it. I'm just doing research right now. Just research. Not even gonna outline it, not working on plot characters. I'm literally just gonna do some basic research. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
It's always fun when you have a moment of reading and you're like, oh, this is actually good? Is this good?
As I'm continuing to edit this, there's the MMC is an author who is in town for the summer theoretically to edit his upcoming novel. But I think the timeline just does not work for that to be the case unless he was doing like past pages on the book. But I don't want to extend. So my fear is if I put him where he is in his editing process, it would be too long between like their breakup and reconciliation, where it would just be like weird for them to just kind of like get back together. Maybe he could be doing past pages on his book and actually writing the next book is what he's doing here, is he's drafting, but while he's drafting he has to go over his pages one last time, whatever. The thing is, part of their getting closer is him asking her for help going over something because he knows she'll be honest about it. So I guess he's more like using her almost as a last check beta reader, or maybe she is helping him with the drafting process for his next book. I don't know. It is something where it's like, I know most people who read this would have absolutely no idea the timeline for editing to publishing a book, but I don't know if that would be a turnoff if an agent / editor reads it and it's just like, what is happening here? This timeline doesn't make sense. Of course, like, it could just be something that gets kind of left as it is now, and then theoretically in the future, if I am agented and we're going over it, I could ask them their thoughts on it, whether or not this should be changed. Cause it would be theoretically a simple change of just, oh, help me work out this problem in my draft, versus, or can you beta read this? If I wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. Can you read this for believability? And he's in the town still for drafting purposes. I don't know. It feels so weird to be like, I don't want to tell you guys. I feel like a lot of authors on authortube don't want to talk about what their book is about at all, because they don't want there to be spoilers for when it's theoretically published one day. And that's fair, but this book, if it was to be published, would not be published for probably like 2 to 3 years. So part of the reconciliation process, part of the grand gesture process, is that he does dedicate this book that he was working on during the summer to the FMC. So I don't know if it makes sense for her to help him with a new draft and then dedicate his most recent book that she did not actually help him with to her. That still is like cute. I don't know. So that's my problem with just changing it in that way. I don't know. Something to think about as I'm rewriting. If you have a thought on that, let me know, because I am not sure.
You feel like summer days to me, warm, tender, sunny rays. I hope that we are meant to be. You say nothing at all when we meet, yet somehow I know your history. Oh, come what may.
Wow, I changed the settings on my camera for like a different aesthetic look, but look at my nails are like neon now. It is Thursday, July 17th. I feel like I have not done nearly as much this week as I had wanted to, and that's always such a frustrating feeling, to just feel like you're nearing the end of a week and you haven't accomplished what you wanted, my goal really was to finish the read through of my draft 2, and I still have, I'm on theoretically chapter 22 out of 28 chapters. So I feel like it's like 60 book pages. I can read that today. I can do that. If I just actually prioritize doing it versus prioritize reading other things or watching YouTube videos, which is where my time has been going, let's be real. My kids are currently fighting over whether or not my daughter's Ariel doll should be able to speak because she has legs. So therefore she shouldn't have a voice. Logical. But maybe I need to show him Little Mermaid 2 where she does have a voice and also legs. But back to the topic at hand. So I'm starting chapter 22 out of 28. I can do that today. I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna do it. And then, I know in my mind of what I was gonna cover in this video, I was like, oh, I can totally have a shot of me doing the whole plotting process. That's not happening. But I will finish reading, and then next week's video will hopefully have me working out the actual plot outline and what needs to get changed, and then I can start rewriting the book and getting draft 3 or draft 2, because I kind of moved to calling this draft 1.5 ready sooner than later. I wanted this week to finish the read through, create the write up of character arcs, write a synopsis of the book. And then I was gonna start watching videos on query letters to kind of get an idea of what to include in them. My goal, like I've said before, is to get this book to a point where I can take it to query by the end of the year, so I can query in the new year. But I would like to apply for the Smooch Fit mentorship this year. So I actually want to get the book to a mostly complete point by September, assumably, because that's when they did it last year. I'm just gonna assume that it will be the same timeline as last year's, which was like the first week of September for applications. So that means I want to definitely have draft 3 done and potentially 3.5, right? Like going through it and at least cleaning it up. I don't know if there'll be any more big changes that need to happen between draft 3 and 4, or if draft 3 will be done minus minor things, who knows. Well, as then whatever, I'm not entirely sure. I should have looked. I haven't looked because to me it's not super relevant at this point what the actual application process involves, but I believe it is like a query letter. So I was like, oh, I'll start looking at that so I can start working on that as well. Many things. Honestly, I'm trying to do too many things at once, and that has always been my problem. That is always my problem, is I have too many things that I want to accomplish. I need to just do one thing at a time. One thing. The one thing today, finishing the read through, okay? I read 2 chapters. I've already forgotten how many I read. 2 chapters. Ooh, I found some more stuff that needs to get moved, as well as one scene where I don't know if I must have missed it when I edited it the first time and changed the beginning of the scene where I'm writing it, and suddenly she's mentioning that she's still in her towel from her shower. I'm like, girl, when did you take a shower? You walked in from a bar 20 seconds ago. That's obviously an easy change. I was just like, what? That, also her mom, again with I need to work on the character arcs. I feel like I switched around her kind of motivation. So therefore I switched around her relationship with her mom a little bit too much in the editing process, and it did not stay consistent. I feel like that is a big thing with some of her relationships, is the consistency of them throughout the book needs to be made sure that they're good. But I read 2 chapters. How many does that leave me? 4 left to read, but I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna make some breakfast pour moi and for my kids, I suppose. I guess I'll feed my children. Get back to reading. I actually think we're gonna go to the library. My son wants to go to the library. We said we were gonna go to the library, but instead we're going to the aquarium. It's completely packed though, so this should be fun.
Picture frames, lavender and pain. They all live here within this romance. I get the chance to stop the run and be the lucky one. Picture frames, lavender and pain. They all live here within this romance. I get the chance to stop the run and be the lucky one.
We're currently in a heat advisory, so I thought, well, what better time? Come sit outside to read. I do have an iced coffee though. Unfortunately, we didn't really have enough ice, so it's actually a lukewarm coffee. Actually completely unsatisfying, but I made it, so I'm gonna drink it. But I'm gonna hopefully finish up the last couple chapters, at least read 2 chapters now. That's so sad. But I'm gonna go sit in the grass and soak up some sunshine, get some vitamin D. Hopefully not have the teenage girls laugh at me for filming. I'm taking a mental break. I edited or read. Edited 2 chapters. Yeah, 26, 27, 28, and an epilogue. But I'm getting to a point where I'm kind of skimming. So obviously that's not good. We don't really skim as we mark it up to make it better. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, as if today hasn't already been mostly a break. But yeah, so we're gonna take a little break. Probably watch some YouTube videos. Hello. It has been several days since the last clip. So I believe that I filmed an outro after I've moved everything off of the camera the first time, and then didn't realize that I filmed more stuff and then formatted my SD card. And if you're unfamiliar with cameras. That means I wiped everything off my SD card because I thought I had moved it all to my computer. So here we are, it's Monday. I did finish reading the book, doing the write-up of the edits on Friday, and on Saturday I typed up everything into my edit document, so I have 8 pages of all the things that I want to be changed chapter by chapter. And so yeah, so I did it. I finished my goal. I finished reading the 6 chapters that I should have read. So I did finish. I'm finding that period of transition very difficult for me right now. So I finished the write-up, marking it up, and now it's time to work on the replotting of it, and I'm struggling to get started. Throughout this video, I've said that I'm going to replot the book before I work on draft 3. And I do think I'm going to do that, because I do think there are enough things that need to be moved around and changed, and enough scenes that need to be added, that I think it would be very helpful for me to actually rewrite out the plot. Probably not as detailed as it would be if it was the first time around, because obviously I have so much of the structure, so much of everything written. I also am realizing the plan for draft 3 is essentially to rewrite the book, like from scratch, like not to move things, not to just be editing within paragraphs, but to be rewriting it. And I'm realizing how stressful that is for me. I think it's because this is the first novel that I wrote that I was really struggling to not be precious about my prose, even though I recognize that for half the book, it's not good. It's not particularly good. It is not probably the worst thing out there. I've definitely read some books on a similar level, if I'm being honest, but there were books that I read and I thought this was not good. So, but I'm still struggling with the idea of it just disappearing. I'm not gonna be one of those people that straight up deletes it. That's psychotic in my opinion. But just the idea that it will not be in my book is very odd and stressful to me. Christy Anne Jones says she does this for every single draft she writes. She essentially writes from scratch, or she does write from scratch. And very inspiring. I do think that in the end, draft 3 will be significantly better if I suck it up and do that. But it's scary. And that is what I think is holding me back, is that fear. But all this to say, it has been a great week. Got some good progress going. It feels always very slow, and I think that being a mom doing this is very difficult. Not that I don't think it's difficult to do this with a 9-to-5 job or any other non-traditional working situation, but I think particularly being a mom, because I think that I just get really hard on myself because I'm home all day. So I think, why did I not do more today? And that's because I was working a job. The job is just being a mom. But then also at the end of the day, you know, if you work a 9 to 5 at 5 p.m., you come home and you might be tired from working, but you are not done working and you can do whatever you want with your time. 5 p.m. hits, I'm not done working. I'm still going. My husband is home, and so he's obviously helping, but still, like, the kids still want mommy a lot. I still put the kids to bed because one of them is still nursing. So I don't get time to really sit down to work until 8 p.m. or later, and at that point I'm tired. So I find this very difficult, and I think that I need to be less hard on myself about it, but at the same time, I know that I have a lot of time that I could be doing this with, but instead I choose to write or watch TV or watch YouTube. Yes, that is something that I'm going to be working on. Next video will hopefully be the outlining process and how I'm going about replotting for draft 3. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!